would love to talk about the cannabis space, how convenient, obviously with recent M2 bio movement, but, really to give some flavor, of course, Canopy was leading the charge, again, a staple that people look at, really was up almost 300 and something percent in 90 days. Now, since its highs, basically dropped about a third from, I think it was here. So I've got 66 dropped down to 44. So it dropped a third. Really, what's your take on the cannabis sector? Did it run too fast and this is just a healthy pullback, or what's your insight?
So two things. Number one, the stocks definitely were positioned well to have a good, healthy run. And because they had been beaten up so much, there was a lack of supply of stock around at the lower prices. So when that got bought up by the market, a gap was to be expected. And boy, did they ever gap. So the stocks gapped up. People get all excited. People are always attracted to stocks that are moving higher. They then plowed in, pushed it even higher. And then when the momentum shifts, the same thing happens on the way down. They get knocked back down, which is where we are today, and they'll find a new support level. But what I love about the cannabis industry, Jason, is it's maturing now into a real operational industry that shows earnings. So not many of them, but it's getting there. The guys that didn't belong in the space have been kicked out, generally speaking. There are a few mergers taking place, which is good. I'm sure there's going to be many more coming up soon, and there should be. There are far too many fringe players just kind of hanging on, and they need to be either bought up or merged with others. But the industry, I like it. It's more,
Well, you
more
want
and
to
more.
talk about it getting a little bit more mature. I mean, GW Pharma gets bought out for like 7 billion or
Yeah, amazing.
something close to
Yeah.
that. Maybe my number's a little wrong, but
No,
it's
that's
close
correct.
to
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah. So that was amazing. That was on the medicinal cannabis side, which of course is what we do. That's what I love. And there'll be many more of those down the road. But I'm happy. It's good to see that the industry is now bringing the right attention. Listen, when this stuff in the US gets at the federal level legal throughout all the states, of course, you can only imagine the interest level from investors at that point, where it'll be illegal for everybody to buy shares. You still have all these people that can't buy shares, pension funds, they're afraid to buy it. They're looking at the legal issues. They don't want to touch it. I mean, it's unbelievable. You probably have, I'm just going to guess, speculate, but probably 2/3 of all the big investment houses, firms, funds, hedge funds, they can't buy it. And they can't buy it because it may not fit within the criteria of the fund, but because it's not legal in all the states yet. And imagine when that opens up, what that's going to do for the industry. It's going to be huge.
yeah. Yeah.
So, and
Banking,
it's
all that stuff.
yeah, I mean, it's going to happen bit by bit. It will get there. In the U.S. now, politically, you've got a government that's pro cannabis, so they are moving forward with some initiatives there. Typical government stuff takes a while, but I think they'll get there pretty quickly.
Yeah. So, talk to me about a kind of outlook on the market then, past 2 weeks down a third, canopy wise, and we'll use them as a staple. What's your take for what's to come, maybe next 3 months, 6 months, year type stuff? Is this a sector you're now like, okay, they ran a little too far. Now they're down to something that's a little bit more realistic. Would you kind of be interested at these levels?
Absolutely. I think that again, as we discussed, I think back in December, you've got to buy the good ones. And I'll use Canopy. I always do. I'll use that as my prime example. If you're buying for the longer term, whether you're paying $44 or 42 or 35, it doesn't really matter at this point. If you're looking out a couple of years, you're going to do really well. And whether you buy the stock today at 44 or 35, whatever it might be, you're going to be fine. And you trying to find a bottom is always very difficult. The best suggestion is always just start building a position. So, you buy a few hundred shares today, a few hundred shares next Friday, and a few hundred, and then you'll have a nice averaged out price. And in a few years, like I said, you'll do very well on all of them. I like them all, whether they're down another 5-10%. On the sell-off, I don't know, and I'm not really concerned. I've always said that's not what I do. I don't day trade these things every 5 minutes. I don't really care. I don't look at the prices on a day-to-day basis. I find that that's unless you're in the business of being a liability trader for one of the big firms, that's what you do for a living. Everyone else that's day trading, I just find, yeah, they're just completely gambling, speculating, and they got
Yeah,
no
well,
clue
I'll
what they're doing.
say, I mean, hey, Canopy, I see here 440 mil revenue, $16 billion market cap. I mean, yeah, and they're pretty much trading almost exactly to 20x revenue, which for a
Yeah,
Canopy company, is that crazy? I mean,
no, no,
right?
not at all, not at all.
So, and as you outlined, I think the space is moving for there to be some more growth, and you'd pick industry leaders like Canopy and others to probably pick up some of that growth as well. So,
Yeah,
no, definitely looking on the Canopy space. I know it's moved a lot, but back down to maybe some levels where it could be good to pick up a position for the next 12 months or longer.